Part 18. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 173. A beautiful middle-aged woman can accept the death of a genius from the Holy Land. But we must not tolerate the result that the entire army is destroyed after spending a huge price to open a place of opportunity like Wandeo Pavilion. Even evildoers like Maple Emperor fell into it. Such a result, not to mention the middle-aged beautiful woman in the Holy Land of creation, even the extreme powerhouses in other holy lands could not accept it for a while. Their eyes all fell on Yang Hao, who had a calm face. Although she is not as beautiful as a middle-aged woman in the Holy Land of creation, her eyes are enough to tell everything. Guilty. Yang Hao is indeed guilty. He is too domineering and greedy. Just for their own selfish desires, they buried many talented people. Even after hearing what Yu Yanhuang said, the Heavenly Sword Emperor of the Eternal Sword Sect just made a provocation, and was killed by Yang Hao without hesitation by taking advantage of the privileges of the Dao Master Star. Yang Hao's whole person revealed a demonic nature. Each of the unparalleled geniuses who became emperors did not know how much knowledge and price they spent on the Holy Land. To put it bluntly, almost every genius who is qualified to enter Wandeo Pavilion was once the chief saint son or saint girl of the Holy Land, and will also become one of the powerful foundations of each major Holy Land in the future. Among them, many evil geniuses are preparing to become holy masters. However, now, except for the 9-Dragon Emperor in the Holy Land of 10,000 laws, they have all been slaughtered by Yang Hao. Both Feng Huang and Luan Yang Tianjun were blamed on Yang Hao. Oh! Yang Hao raised his eyelids and glanced at the beautiful middle-aged woman. The woman had murderous intentions towards him, but in his eyes she felt like a breeze blowing across his face. What sin? Emperor, what is your crime? At this time, there was a sneer. It was not Yang Hao who spoke, but a saint from the eternal Holy Land. This Saint Yang Hao knew was the 7th elder of the Holy Land, an old man with a staid face. He continued to sneer, Yahua, the more you live, the more you go back. Is this your first day of practice? When exploring the land of opportunity, don't say whether the land of opportunity is dangerous or not. If there is a treasure in front of you, will you take it or not? If someone tries to stop you from taking the treasure, will you kill him or not? I remember that when you were in the imperial realm and killed me, the eternal genius and pure emperor, you were so proud. What, are you guilty? The 7th elder's cold words made the middle-aged beautiful woman Yahua Sage's face darken. Did Yang Hao kill someone from my holy land? Earth Overlord, Luan Yang Tianjun, Maple Emperor, and Blood Nether Emperor. This place is the holy land created by me and opened jointly with many holy lands. Your holy land of eternal life is so domineering and takes all the benefits. Will there be no need to open this 10,000 Dao pavilion in 100 years? The holy land of creation alone could not make the eternal saint fearful. So in a few words, her words united all the other holy lands and inspired other holy lands. Let's attack Yang Hao together. Hee hee. But at this moment, a chuckle rang out. My eternal holy land exclusive benefits. Kowloon Emperor, have you benefited? Emperor Langzi, have you benefited? Qingxiao asked casually, his tone was lazy. Zhongwu walked out slowly and gradually stood in front of Yang Hao. She asked the other Tianjiao who were walking out of Wandeo Pavilion. Of course I got it. The geniuses kept silent when faced with Zhongwu's questioning. Unexpectedly, the 9 Dragons Emperor immediately said in a straightforward tone, we have indeed gained a lot. However, I didn't know anything. As soon as I entered Wandeo Pavilion, I was teleported to a secret realm. The 9 Dragons Emperor immediately said again, extremely smooth and unwilling to offend both sides. At this time, no one paid attention to the 9 Dragons Emperor. They all looked at the Holy Land of eternal life and were furious. In fact, even if Yang Hao is guilty, as Yang Hao with his status, it is impossible for the powerful men in his holy land to really touch Yang Hao. Except for a few people such as the Yahweh saint who have murderous intentions, other holy lands just want to make Yang Hao spit out some benefits. After all, everyone has fallen. What else can be done? The seventh elder of the Holy Land of Eternal Life is right. When exploring the land of opportunity, there will be competition, and life and death fights are inevitable. Among the powerful men present, who have not stepped on countless geniuses along the way, the corpse of the monster has come to this day. What a pity! The Holy Land of Eternal Life is too domineering. It has no intention of giving in and relaxing at all. Yang Hao himself even disdains to pay attention to it. Let's go. At this time, Zhang Wu's voice came again. A group of strong men from the Eternal Holy Land instantly turned into divine light and disappeared. Ignoring all the other Holy Land strong men with livid faces, they left completely after a disagreement. The Holy Land of Eternal Life is too much. Not only that, it's so overbearing. Emperor Zun is so bold despite his talent. If he grows up in the future, what will happen? The powerful men in the major holy places all had gloomy faces, looking at the divine light emitted by the Eternal Holy Land with sullen expressions. Everyone. At this time, a deep sound rang out. Everyone looked at the Yahweh saint who made the sound. Stop time, I have something important to discuss with you. The Yahweh saint said to many Judeo powerhouses. Stop time. Many Judeo powerhouses narrowed their eyes when they heard this. Stopping time, for a saint, also requires effort, and it can only be stopped briefly. If the other party he also controls the law of time, which cannot be used. Generally speaking, stopping time is the only way to do this when time is extremely urgent. But now, none of these extremely powerful people are pressed for time. Why do you want to stop time? Stop time? These powerful people are all wise people, and they understood it almost instantly. Yahweh, do you want to take action against the Holy Land of Eternal Life? A middle-aged scholar washed away the fluctuations of time and stopped his time in an instant. He was the ancient sword saint, the leader of the ancient sword sect, and once fought with Zhang Wu. After the arrival of the Great Age, he broke through the shackles and evolved into a quasi-sage at the same time. He is also the father of the fallen heavenly sword emperor. This matter cannot be done. I have no intention of participating. The strong man from the 10,000 Laws Holy Land said calmly. Although some geniuses have fallen in their holy land, the Nine Dragons Emperor is not in trouble. Naturally, they are not willing to provoke such a behemoth as the Eternal Life Holy Land. Why take action? Give us good reasons to consider it. The extremely strong men in Kinkan Holy Land and Yin Yang Holy Land are also angry at this moment. After hearing the words of Yahweh Saint, they are ready to ask first. Yang Hao must die. What you don't know is that Emperor Maple is a peerless genius since the arrival of the Great Age. Although he is only an emperor, he has defeated a quasi-sage in the Holy Land. Even more so than the sage. The royal transformation saint's eyes were gloomy and he said immediately. When other holy places heard the words, their hearts moved slightly. Even the powerful Judeo who was about to leave in the 10,000 Laws Holy Land stopped. The Maple Emperor's combat power is so terrifying. He can suppress it accurately. Saint, even stronger than saint. They knew very well that Yahweh Saint was also a saint with powerful combat power, but they were surprised that such a strong Maple Emperor could evenly compete. After all, being able to become an emperor is basically against the will of heaven. Rank is the main factor, and the differences between foundations are almost eliminated. Everyone is born as a monster, and it is no longer realistic to want to fight against the enemy like a weakling. But just like this, the Maple Emperor of the Holy Land of Creation was able to fight against the enemy and cross the border. The fighting power is astonishing. These people just thought about it and realized the meaning of the words of the Yahweh sage. Yang Hao, there is a big secret. Even if he is ranked as the main star of the avenue and is known as the most powerful genius in 100,000 years, in the end he is just a powerful person. Being able to enter Wandeo Pavilion, everyone is optimistic about his future potential, not his strength. In terms of strength, Yang Hao can only be ranked lower among the geniuses who entered Wandeo Pavilion. The second level of trickery is just to borrow the power of the quasi-sage. But in the third level, Yu Yanhuang once said that Maple Emperor was not seriously injured when he entered the third level, and was even in full strength, defeating and killing other geniuses. The words of the Yuhua saint came slowly, and she continued, a monster emperor who can suppress the quasi-sage, even if Yang Hao can create such extraordinary phenomena as the 9 dragons pulling the coffin, he may not be able to suppress the Maple Emperor. A powerful person, what can he do to suppress Maple Emperor? A whole 4 realms. Judging from Maple Emperor's combat power, Yang Hao conquered 6 realms. There are treasures and tricks on him. Maybe even a Jidao Emperor soldier. The masterless Jidao Imperial soldier. The Yuhua sage's words were unhurried, but they were like a heavy drum beating on everyone's heart. In her opinion, the only one who could defeat so many great realms and kill Maple Emperor was the Supreme Dao Emperor soldier. This made her many people's hearts are filled with turmoil, and greed is gradually rising. The masterless Jidao Imperial soldiers are really too tempting for saints like them. The Jidao Imperial soldiers in the Holy Land have layers of seals, and some people may be able to control it when the Holy Land is in crisis, but they absolutely cannot explore it. A masterless Supreme Emperor weapon. If it can be controlled, it is even possible to explore the secret of the Emperor's enlightenment. At the end of the day, the combat power can also increase so much that even the quasi-emperor needs it. Give in. How terrible. I thought he hadn't grown up yet, but I didn't expect that he could already kill saints at will. If he is allowed to grow up, he will be domineering and selfish, and his flaws will be repaid. I am afraid that by then another war emperor will be born, and all the major holy places will suffer unreasonable disasters. At this time, the middle-aged scholar-looking goose-sword emperor suddenly sighed with a helpless tone. His understatement instantly aroused thousands of waves in the hearts of many powerful people. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 174. All practitioners are selfish. The more powerful it is, the more so. They can let the ants grow, or they can boast and praise the ants. However, when this ant instantly enlarged in their eyes, it became an ant that could devour and kill them. These high-minded practitioners will panic. No matter how evil or genius Yang Hao was before. In the eyes of these saint-level experts, Yang Hao is just an outstanding ant. It will take who knows how many years until he grows up. So they ignored Yang Hao. He focuses more on his own practice and his enemies who are at the same level as himself. But now, the ancient sword master's seemingly careless words made these saints panic a little. War Emperor. That was an emperor who rose from the Dark Ages. Before his enlightenment, he had offended many holy places and narrowly escaped death countless times. In the end, he survived by luck. After attaining enlightenment, he took pleasure in looting the secrets of major holy places and massacring the strong men in various holy places. You know, in the Dark Ages there were still great emperors sitting in the major holy places. If it were today, many holy places with endless heritage would be destroyed because of the War Emperor. It can even be said that he was one of the sources that triggered the advent of the Dark Ages. Although the War Emperor fell in the end, the vitality of the major holy places was severely damaged. The reason why the ancient sword master mentioned the War Emperor was because Yang Hao's character was even more extreme than that of the War Emperor, and he was even more contemptuous of the rules. Some saints who have lived from the Dark Ages to the present have turned pale very quickly. Yang Hao is very likely to become another War Emperor. No, even more terrifying than the War Emperor. Because the former war emperor came from a mediocre background and had no background, he only relied on his great luck to finally achieve enlightenment. But Yang Hao is different. Behind him is a behemoth like the Holy Land of eternal life. If Yang Hao is allowed to grow up completely, he will no longer be as simple as a war emperor. It is very likely that the orthodox traditions of the major holy places may be wiped out because of Yang Hao. This is not difficult to judge. All the powerful people who have studied Yang Hao know that Yang Hao's character is inherently lawless and ignores all rules. Now that he can kill the saint level, he will definitely not hesitate. In the future, if he attains enlightenment and becomes an emperor, and his blood will flow like rivers of blood as he thrives, what's the wonder? A sense of uneasiness and panic gradually spread. Time stands still. Time stands still. One by one, the powerful Ji-Dao masters stopped their own time, and gradually merged their auras with those of the other Ji-Dao strong men. All time in this area was stopped. I want to return to the Holy Land. Kill Yang Hao and arrange it immediately. Attack and kill them before they return to the Holy Land. Well, a large number of living fossils will come out of the Holy Land and visit the Holy Land of eternal life. After Yang Hao's death, how should his sacred objects be divided up? If there really are Ji-Dao Emperor soldiers, how will they be distributed? Voices echoed in this area where time stood still. These saint-level powerhouses are all mature with age and have extremely rich experience. They understand very well the importance of surprise and quick victory. Once a consensus was reached, these powerful people seemed to fit together like gears and began to rotate rapidly. Even in order to leak the news, the talented people who had just left Wandao Pavilion, including Fang Qingying, were imprisoned by many powerful people. Fang Qingying frowned slightly. She didn't know what the many Holy Realm experts discussed after time stopped. But when the Yahweh Saint persuaded everyone before, he didn't hide it at all. Is this to deal with the Master? It's bad. Fang Qingying was brought into the world of a saint in the Yin and Yang Holy Land at this time. She could not get out and could only practice. It seems that this time the Master realized some of the laws of destiny in Wandao Pavilion. Try it. After she pondered for a moment, she discovered the extremely mysterious laws in this small world. These mysterious laws began to tremble, attracting the attention of the saints in the Yin and Yang Holy Land. They just thought that Fang Qingying was practicing. After all, no one knew about the relationship between Fang Qingying and Yang Hao. Relationship. The reason why these geniuses are imprisoned is because they are worried about being penetrated by the saints of the eternal Holy Land. Although the possibility is not high, we must eliminate all possibilities. At this moment, as many powerful men and geniuses from the eternal Holy Land returned to the Holy Land in a huge flying boat, Yang Hao suddenly felt something in his heart and his eyes flickered. Fluctuations in fortune. A bright light flashed in his eyes. Now he has sensed the laws of fate. Although he is still unable to use them, his perception of the laws of fate is far greater than that of other strong men. He suddenly sensed the fluctuations of fate inexplicably. It made him feel a little strange. After all, the law of destiny is too mysterious. Unless it is a miraculous place like Wandao Pavilion, it is rare in the world. But now he senses the fluctuation of destiny, and without thinking, he activates the breath of destiny in his body, and will the mysterious destiny fluctuations in the void are received. This is Fang Qingying. Yang Hao's eyes suddenly opened, and he instantly absorbed the fluctuations of fate. He sensed the information on the fluctuations of fate. Auntie, I'm in some trouble. Yang Hao immediately sent a message to Zhongwu without thinking. You don't need to think too much to know that Fang Qingying was born with such miraculous talents as the little destiny technique. Even he can understand the law of destiny after entering Wandao Pavilion this time. Fang Qingying is in the Wandao Pavilion. He has been hiding since the third level, so he naturally got the opportunity. He could sense that Fang Qingying's attainments in the law of destiny were no lower than his own. But it didn't matter. The information from the fluctuation of fate made him immediately give birth to be wary. Although he is arrogant, he always makes plans before acting. This time, since the major holy places want to target him, it will never be that simple. Ambush. When Zhang Wu heard Yang Hao's words, she had no doubts at all. She immediately summoned the powerful people from the Holy Land of Eternal Life who were on the same trip. This time, in order to open Wandao Pavilion, besides Zhang Wu there were 3 saint-level beings. They were the 4th Elder, the 7th Elder, and the 7th Elder. The Elders and the 9th Elder. Except for the 9th Elder, who is a quasi-sage, the other 2 are saints. Audacious in the extreme. These guys should intercept us before we reach the Holy Land. Their target is Emperor Zun, why not let Emperor Zun hide? After hearing Zhang Wu's words, several people looked annoyed and said in a deep voice, "Need not." At this time, Zhang Wu spoke. "Since the other party wants to ambush you, let them do it. Once you're here, don't think about leaving." Zhang Wu's eyes flashed and she said calmly. The major holy places wanted to ambush Yang Hao, which was beyond her expectation. It has been many years since anyone dared to provoke the eternal Holy Land like this. Since the other party wanted to ambush, then she let these people never come back. Yes. The 3 saint elders also sneered. An ambush requires concealment and suddenness to be called an ambush. If the target of the ambush is known in advance, it can only be called a counterattack. Then, Zhang Wu closed her eyes and typed, "Rays of divine light are heading towards the end of the sky. However, please enter my little world first. I'm afraid there will be a shocking battle today." After the arrangements were made, Zhang Wu came to Yang Hao and said to him, "Enter your little world, auntie." When Yang Hao heard this, he understood that Zhang Wu was worried about his safety. But he shook his head and said, "No need for the time being. I also want to see the battle of saints. If it is possible. I also want to kill a few saints today." Yang Hao said lightly, with a casual tone, as if he was slaughtering a saint like a pig or a dog. "In that case, it's up to you. But I need to be closer to my aunt then." Zhang Wu knew Yang Hao's character, and also knew that Yang Hao's current combat power could barely intervene in the battle at her level, so Zhang Wu just gave some instructions. "This is natural," Yang Hao said with a smile. "He is not stupid, so he will not show off." When Zhang Wu explained, he also typed out a series of messages. It was inconvenient for Saint Onling to show up, but the little girl and the pure blood phoenix were both. He summoned all the saint-level combat power. Immediately, Yang Hao closed his eyes and concentrated, and began to adjust his energy and spirit to its peak state. He felt very strange now. It was obvious that he was about to encounter a terrifying storm-like attack. But not only was there no fear in his heart, he was even extremely calm with a trace of expectation. The fighting spirit was slowly burning, and it was about to form a prairie fire. The mountain rain was about to come, and the wind filled the building. Boom! It wasn't even an hour before Yang Hao received the news from Fang Qingying. Yang Hao heard a loud bang that could be shot. Immediately afterwards, the heaven and earth shook. The Shenzhou in the Holy Land of Eternal Life stopped for an instant. Then torn apart, shattered in an instant. The spiritual energy escapes. Most of the geniuses have been included in the small world. Only the peerless geniuses like Emperor Ningxin who have not entered yet will participate in this battle. Since it is an ambush, there is naturally not so much nonsense. Yang Hao's peripheral vision flashed and he instantly saw the terrifying auras appearing from all directions. What a big battle! 28 saints. Among them, how many quasi-sages, saints, and sages are there? His heart is as cold as iron, and his murderous intent is boiling _Fe. Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading dash. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I Took Away the Villain's Son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 175. One after another figures walked out. Every figure burst out with an incomparable momentum. If Yang Hao was really just a powerful man at this moment, there was no way he would be crushed to death by the auras of these 28 saints. The battle is not small. 16 quasi-sages, 10 saints, 2 sages. However, be careful. There are still 18 layers of divine formations falling here. Don't get close to those 2 people. At this moment, Yang Hao squinted his eyes, and heard Zhang Wu's extremely serious voice. The efficiency of these holy places operations is astonishingly terrifying. From the time they left Wandao Pavilion to now, it has been less than 3 hours at most. A total of 28 saints appeared to ambush her. If she had not been prepared, Zhang Wu would definitely have found it extremely difficult. Zhang Wu, you can go. My target is Yang Hao. His strength has reached the holy level, and you no longer need to protect him. At this time, a sage came out. He was wearing linen clothes and had a smile on his face. He looked very kind, but the meaning behind his words was very domineering. Zhang Wu remained silent, just raised her eyes and glanced at this person. Figures of Taoist sages. Wind Saint. Emperor Ning Xian, who was beside Zhang Wu, saw this sage, but her expression changed slightly. She knew this person. This was the holy master of the Yin and Yang holy land of the previous generation. When she had just started practicing and was still a saint of the holy land of eternal life, Feng the saint is the holy lord of the Yin-Yang holy land. Not only that, the origin of this wind saint is very terrifying. He once received a blow from Emperor Zishuan in the Dark Ages. Not only did he not die, but he took the opportunity to live a second life, rebuild and return again, and achieved great success. Sage. When it comes to combat power, this living fossil can definitely hold down all the saints in the world. Even Zhang Wu is probably no match for the Wind Sage. Just this one saint is enough to be considered a dozen powerful saints. Literary saint also came. Beside Emperor Ningxin, the simple and square face of the seventh elder was also a bit ugly. Emperor Ningxin only knew Feng Sheng, but he didn't know the expressionless and black-robed literary saint beside Feng Sheng. But he knew him. Not only did he know him. I know him very well. This person is just as powerful as Feng Sheng. The literary saint who created the Holy Land, his background is too great. He and Patriarch Kangming lived in the same era, and he was a direct disciple of the great God Star Emperor. When he was young, literary saint always suppressed Patriarch Kangming on the supreme list and was always ahead of Patriarch Kangming. He reached the realm of sage early on. Not only that, it is said that he is a terrifying sage who has control over the existence of the 5 avenues. But later, because the literary saint gradually aged, he thought he had died, but he did not expect that he would revive today because of Yang Hao. The seventh elder took a deep breath. He had survived from the Dark Ages and knew very well how powerful this literary sage was back then. What made him feel a little creepy was that this ancient sage who was of the same era as Patriarch Kangming had clearly grown up in many years. Someone had seen him aging badly before. Logically speaking, this person was born in the Holy Land of Creation and could not have practiced the immortality method in the Holy Land of Eternal Life. He should have died. But now he saw that literary saint did not have any sense of depletion of energy and blood. On the contrary, I feel extremely powerful. In this case, there is only one possibility. Wen Sheng, I am afraid that he will go further than before, or he has mastered another avenue, or he may have been wandering on the edge of the Quasi-Emperor. Silver Winter Saint, Tianlin Saint, Spear Saint. Not only were the 2 ancient sages, literary sage and wind sage, but the seventh elder looked at the many saints behind the two ancient sages. These saints were also extremely powerful men in the major holy places. Each one of them had a great reputation and was well known in Ziwei University. Star. Now, they are all here because of Yang Hao. Even if he knew in advance that someone was ambushing him. But when the real ambush came, the seventh elder, Emperor Ningxin, and others were still extremely shocked. They didn't know what Yang Hao had done to attract such a terrifying lineup. Yang Hao, kneel down. At this moment, a middle-aged beautiful woman in the form of a saint behind the two sages walked out, scolding in a cold and decisive tone. The holy land of creation, the royal saint. Her eyes were cold, looking directly at Hao, like thousands of mountains. Go away horizontally. Yang Hao, hand over your Jidao Emperor soldiers. And all the divine objects, hand them over. If there is no guesswork, when you entered the true realm God formation and returned safely, you must still have the elixir of immortality with you, so take them all out. After the Yahweh saint walked out, another figure walked out. These figures of saints all came from major holy places. Their eyes were greedy. They looked at Yang Hao as if they were moving the sacred treasure together. They opened their mouths and spoke out their nonsense speculations directly. He wanted to break Yang Hao's mind and deceive Yang Hao's details. Unfortunately, Yang Hao's eyes were deep and he didn't pay attention. He looked at these people deeply, seeming to be calculating something. Master, do you need to get together? Yunyan's voice reached Yang Hao's ears. Not urgent. Yang Hao continued to sweep his gaze one after another. These saints who participated in the ambush were extremely powerful, such as Wen Sheng and Feng Sheng. Even he felt unfathomable. However, he did not panic at all since Zhongwu said that it has been arranged, then he believes in Zhongwu's arrangement. He is watching now. He can slaughter those people. When the Shenzhou of the Eternal Holy Land was broken and was surrounded by 28 saints. At this moment, outside the Holy Land of Eternal Life, existences exuding terrifying auras appeared one after another. They all spent an astonishing price to tear apart hundreds of millions of endless distances, walked out of the major holy places, and arrived at the mountain gate of the Holy Land of Eternal Life in an instant. Saint Hongdao from the Holy Land of 10,000 Dharmas came to visit old friend Chixiao. The Saint of Gujun, the Holy Land of Creation, came to pay homage to the Saint of all Spirits. Saint Luan Kong of Yin Yang Holy Land came to pay homage to Saint Donglan. Powerful auras from various major holy places spoke one after another, echoing over the entire Eternal Holy Land. These saints are different from those who ambushed Yang Hao and others hundreds of millions of miles away. Each of them had a kind face and showed goodwill, and it seemed as if they came to visit Shanmen by coincidence. Of course, their purpose is self-evident. Every holy place is working hard today, preparing to work together to eradicate the most evil existence of this era. Otherwise, no big force would be willing to fight against a huge thing like the Holy Land of Eternal Life on its own. Interesting. Do you want to stop us? Heaven's way is good at reincarnation, and something like this will happen every 10,000 years. Yes, remember the last time our Holy Land of Eternal Life and these guys surrounded and killed the monster from the Holy Land of Teishu. I didn't expect that today it would be my Holy Land's turn. Girl Jiang's little guy seems to be really scary. Not being jealous is a mediocre thing, sooner or later. It's a pity. I thought a quasi-emperor would be born this time, but it seems that after all, I am still obsessed with enlightenment and unwilling to step out. Haha, is it because you don't want to, or because the gods and humans have declined? Deep in the Holy Land of Eternal Life, figures one after another also walked out under the visits of these saints. They chatted and joked casually. These old monsters don't seem to care about the purpose of these saints. This group of people have lived in the Holy Land of Eternal Life for who knows how many years. In these long years, They have seen too many such plots and fights. Don't say that they already knew it in advance. Even if they don't know, these living fossils will not be confused. Fighting and disputes between holy places are too common. No more waiting. No one will come to the holy land of eternal life. Zhongwu, our only target is Yang Hao. If we want to blame him, we blame him for being too outstanding. Hand over Yang Hao, otherwise not just a saint will die today. At this moment, in the void where Yang Hao is, these saints have still not taken action. They seem to be waiting. The ancient sword saint walked out calmly and said condescendingly to Yang Hao and others. Okay. Yang Hao was indifferent, but suddenly asked Zhongwu. Soon. Zhongwu said casually they should also be reinforcing the divine formation to prevent the quasi-emperor who really has the eternal holy land from walking out. Oh. Yang Hao nodded after hearing this. He didn't ask any more questions. He had already locked the target. Just this ancient sword master. Yang Hao looked at every saint-level powerhouse present one by one. Then he discovered, this ancient sword master talks the most nonsense, but his strength is not that good. The Yahua saint has the most murderous intention towards you, but I heard Yunyan remind me. I know, she's probably Lin Feng's mistress. His taste is a bit strong. Yang Hao was careless. He naturally knew Yahua saint's malice towards him. But, so what? Just kill the ancient sword master, and then kill Yahua saint. All right. At this moment, Zhongwu smiled and sent a message to Yang Hao. The next moment, she exploded into the sky, and endless divine flowers erupted like a waterfall, directly attacking the two most powerful saints, Literary Saint and Wind Saint. Yang Hao saw in this scene, even though the sky was still gloomy and surrounded by the figures of saints everywhere, he still followed Zhongwu without hesitation and took action. The soaring sword light broke through the sky. The ancient killing array was already ready to go. Headed towards the ancient sword master almost in an instant. A big battle. The obviously weaker side took the lead. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 176. Stubborn. Kill Zhongwu and suppress Yang Hao. Seeing Zhongwu and Yang Hao taking action directly, all the saints were stunned. Not only these two people, but all the powerful men in the eternal Holy Land took action at this moment. After being dazed, he became angry. Sucker punch. Don't overestimate your capabilities. Thoughts emerged one after another, and these saints also took action one after another, and at the same time they acted on Yang Hao, Zhongwu, and other powerful people in the Holy Land of eternal life. For a time, the sky was filled with splendor. Countless powerful killing formations and rare small worlds all appeared at the same time. The magical powers were flying all over the sky, and they collided like a storm in an instant. Kindness. At this time, someone's expression changed slightly. They had an absolute advantage. No matter Zhongwu was a sage or any other saint from the Holy Land of eternal life who wanted to fight back, they would be annihilated in an instant. But they found that everything was still. On their side, the killing offensives were like gorgeous fireworks, brilliant and beautiful, but they did not cause substantial damage at all. On their side, several saints shed blood in an instant. The small world with the powerful saint was shattered in an instant. Fell into a trap. The Fengsheng raised his eyes and looked in all directions. The numerous divine formations they had set up were like huge cages, sealing them all. It was clearly the power of the endless divine formations they had set up, but at this moment they fell across them, sealing them all. Their side's offensive was completely resolved. How can it be? Yuhua Saint couldn't believe it. The moment she struck out, her killing blow was completely decomposed by the power of the Supreme God formation. She realized that Feng Sheng's words were true. Originally, they were supposed to be gradually stabilizing the God formation. Now it has become their prison. The future emperor who moves my eternal holy land also has unique vision. I'm afraid it's not that you're unique, but that you're tired of living in this world and don't want to live anymore, right? Two calm voices sounded. Figures appeared. One after another. Each one was cleansing away the aura of terror. Quasi-sages, saints, sages. All of them were wearing the robes of the eternal holy land. The number was 30. The strong men of the eternal holy land, it's here. As soon as it appeared, many people's expressions changed drastically. They couldn't imagine why so many powerful people appeared. He is, Qin Sheng. Ancient Dragon Saint. Damn it! Didn't someone go to hold back the foundation of the holy land of eternal life? Why do so many strong men appear? In all the major holy places, one after another saint figures began to bleed crazily. They recognized these powerful saints from the eternal holy land. Whether they were the Qin saint or the ancient dragon saint, their strength was definitely not much worse than the wind saint and the literary saint. But this moment is not a chat, but a life and death battle. As soon as they appeared, the two sides began to fight crazily. Here, billions of miles of spiritual energy rolled back crazily. Dozens of saints fought together, forming a spiritual energy storm, so that the spiritual energy as rich as the sea after the arrival of the Great Age was consumed almost instantly. The Holy Land of Eternal Life came well prepared, not only with the number of people overwhelming all the major holy lands, but also in terms of strength, it was not inferior. Retreat. One by one, the saints came from all the major holy places. The saints who were originally extremely arrogant have now given birth to the intention to retreat. Their purpose is to suppress Yang Hao, torture him for his secrets and then kill him. But now with the holy land of eternal life the strong man appeared, and the previous plan was like a dream. No matter whether they could understand what was going on, it didn't matter. If they didn't leave, everything would be late. They were here to kill the genius, not to die. Come when you want, leave when you want. Do you think I am easy to bully in the holy land of eternal life? Zhang Wu's calm voice resounded. The red sword shadow in her hand slashed out 1,000,000 miles, directly cutting a saint in half. The sky was surrounded by brilliance. She was not at all just now it is to attack the literary saint and the wind saint, but to send a signal. Both sides are making arrangements. It's just that the holy land of eternal life is in the dark, and the major holy places are in the light. The holy land of eternal life, cultivating the method of longevity, there are too many hidden strong men dormant. Zhang Wu has been the holy master of the holy land of eternal life for 200 years, but she has supreme majesty and follows her words. No one dares to refute her. How could she have no supporters? All the powerful men of the holy land of eternal life who came at this time they are all supporters who are inextricably linked to her. A smile appeared on Zhang Wu's lips. After seeing the saint being beheaded, she looked at Yang Hao not far away from the corner of her eye. At this moment, Yang Hao and Yunyan merged together, and the surging aura from their bodies had reached the peak of the eternal giant. He launched a prehistoric killing array, exploded with murderous aura, and was blessed by various laws to fight crazily with the ancient sword master. Anyone who wanted to penetrate the two of them, almost all the saints in the battle group, were held back. Of course, with the arrival of the powerful men from the eternal holy land at this moment, few people have the intention to really kill Yang Hao. Because the combat power displayed by Yang Hao now is no more accurate than ordinary people. The saint is about to miss. It is almost impossible to kill Yang Hao in a short time under the premise of the arrival of many powerful people from the eternal holy land. The ancient sword saint, a quasi-saint level saint, was riddled with holes in his body after being killed by Yang Hao. Crazy honkin'. His fighting power is so terrifying. And no matter how many saints intervene, he only attacks the ancient sword saint. Crazy. This monster is completely crazy. Although he has a divine body, he has not created an indestructible golden body. The originally defenseless ancient sword saint has been completely defeated by Yang Hao, and has no ability to fight back. He can clearly see that because of the battle between the saints, the aftermath is also killing Yang Hao. Even though the aftermath will be broken up by the divine formations in all directions, but there are still too many aftermaths that wash over Yang Hao's body. But Yang Hao doesn't pay attention at all. He allows his divine body to be destroyed, his divine blood to drain, and his divine bones to be broken. He is crazily squeezing the potential of the billions of demons in his body, and is constantly recovering. No matter how fierce this world-shattering battle is, he will only focus all his killings on the ancient sword master in front of him. The ancient sword master's breath is going crazy fall. He was shocked to find that he, a quasi-sage, could not defeat Yang Hao. The ancient sword saint originally did not believe the Yahweh saint's statement, thinking that the other party was just to make the major holy places fear Yang Hao. But now he really I believe it. The royal transformation sage did not lie. Yang Hao can really suppress the quasi-sage. He wanted to leave. But Yang Hao bit him fiercely like a mad dog, biting off large chunks of his flesh and blood. The method of reincarnation. While the ancient sword saint was extremely shocked, a bright blue light burst out in Yang Hao's eyes. Under the double pupils, the supreme law of time evolved infinitely, reversing the injuries that the ancient sword saint had just recovered in an instant. In an instant, the ancient sword saint's breath failed. To the extreme. Not good. The ancient sword master had no idea that Yang Hao could affect him with the time method. A warning sign came to his mind. The killing array turned back, trying to turn it into a protective means to resist Yang Hao's killing. Unfortunately, Yang Hao was too decisive. It was so decisive that it seemed as if it had already evolved thousands of times and was about to kill him. Die. Yang Hao's voice was calm. In the blink of an eye, the 4 divine swords and a bloody spear in the prehistoric killing array completely destroyed the ancient sword saint's sea of spiritual energy and head. A quasi-sage's breath withered instantly. The blood clouds are hovering in the middle. The quasi-sage has perished. Pity. When Yang Hao saw the fall of the ancient sword saint, it was clearly the first time he had killed a quasi-saint with his own fighting power, but he still felt a little regretful. There were too many saints here, and he did not dare to release Wei Tower to collect them. The ancient sword saint transformed. However, he just sighed. Now, he already looks down on the quasi-sage strongman like the ancient sword saint. After killing the ancient sword saint, Yang Hao did not stop his pace. He wandered his eyes on the endless chaotic battlefield, where saint figures were fighting madly, and sometimes there were aftermaths that destroyed his body. But Yang Hao was not afraid at all, and his eyes finally locked onto a figure. The royal transformation saint. This crazy person. Mother-in-law, she is escaping at the moment. But she is being chased and intercepted by 3 saint-level powerhouses from the Holy Land of Eternal Life. Leave her alone. Yang Hao snorted coldly and passed on the order. Hey. The next moment, a cute figure of a little lowly riding a phoenix burning with divine fire instantly intercepted the Yahweh saint in front of him. Get out of here. When Yahweh saint saw this scene, he became very angry. She could naturally tell that the divine fire phoenix in front of her was a quasi-sage, but the child didn't know where it came from. Yahweh saint's current in an extremely bad mood, she used a magic weapon to kill the little lowly riding the fire phoenix who was blocking the road. Haha. But I heard a chuckle from the little girl. Then, the extremely powerful G-Deo magic weapon shot by the Yahweh sage was caught by the little girl in an instant. How could she catch my fake hunting weapon? The Yahweh saint looked horrified. When she fired the G-Deo divine weapon, it was to cleanse the Deo that she was best at. Even a quasi-sage had to retreat 3 feet. But this little lowly did it easily. He grabbed her G-Deo divine weapon and wiped out her Deo aura. But before the royal saint could think too much, Yang Hao's figure had already come to kill him. His face was expressionless, but he was like a sure god of killing. The Huanquan rod in his hand turned into a giant sword and killed Yahua Saint. At the same time, the magical power and the prehistoric killing array came out to kill. Today, it was not enough for him to slaughter a quasi-sage. He wanted to kill the saint head-on. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 177. When Yang Hao and Yahua Saint were fighting together, they did not attract too much attention. Most eyes are focused on the other side. The Wind Saint, the Literary Saint, the Qin Saint, and the Ancient Dragon Saint are at war. The youngest Wind Saint on both sides has lived for more than 150,000 years. This is the first and most pinnacle war in the human world after the arrival of the Great World. Both sides were once magnificent and powerful men who dominated a generation. The saint-level powerhouses in the major Holy Lands have begun to retreat. But the saint-level powerhouses in the eternal Holy Land are all staring at this battle intently at this moment. They dare not enter. They are both saint-level, but if they join the battle group, they will most likely perish. Today's ambush failed. If we admit defeat, Yin-Yang Holy Land will pay the apology. Feng Shengren, as his name suggests, said calmly and calmly. He shot out a black and white divine flower in his hand, which turned away the endless divine power purified by Qin Sheng. The battle between the two seemed simple, but it was the most simple way, and they really fought with the great way. Not only that, the two sides have evolved into endless small worlds, one flashing blue light, the other flashing blood red, colliding together, and the aftermath is intertwined. If it weren't for the divine formation above that constantly resolves the power of both sides, it is very possible that these billions of miles of rivers and mountains would be destroyed in an instant. Shattered. Oh! Is there such a simple thing that can be overcome? I heard that there is a goddess in your Yin-Yang Holy Land generation, named Fang Qingying. She seems to have a grudge against Yang Hao, so I sent her body and let the matter go. Qin Sheng's indifferent voice also came. He continued to transform into avenues, and 4 avenues of luster appeared around him, shining on him like a fairy. Snort. Feng Sheng snorted coldly when he heard the words, and blood surged in his eyes. Another surge of the avenue dispersed the endless divine power that suddenly surged from all directions due to Qin Sheng's turbulent avenue. Since all the saints in my Yin-Yang Holy Land have left safely, I will not accompany you anymore. As Feng Sheng's words fell to the ground, his figure turned into nothingness, and actually passed through the oppression of many divine formations and disappeared in place. On the other side, it was not the same. Wen Sheng was more powerful than Feng Sheng or even Qin Sheng. He was enough. He has mastered the 6 avenues and evolved endlessly to fight with the ancient dragon saint. Unfortunately, even so, the literary saint is still at a disadvantage. The ancient dragon saint is too fierce. Although he controls the 6 avenues like the literary saint, the blood of the ancient dragon saint containing the blood of the ancient dragon clan, one of the avenues he mastered, was extremely special, and he exercised great restraint against the literary saint. How come the strong man who created my holy land has not left yet? Yahua. Wen Sheng frowned and cast his eyes at the far distance of the divine formation. If it weren't for the saints of the Holy Land of Creation who had not escaped, he would not want to fight with this extremely ferocious ancient dragon saint at this moment. He is too old. With the ancient dragon saint like this, fighting with his existence consumes his longevity very quickly. He can fight, but there is no need. He came here today simply because Lin Feng is his half-disciple, not because he covets Yang Hao. He is the direct descendant of a great emperor. Dao Emperor Bing has already studied it, and Yang Hao is not very attractive to him. That's all. A saint will die when he dies. Let's see her destiny for ourselves. Wen Sheng once again fought with ancient dragon saint for several rounds, but he was unwilling to pay too much for Yahua saint. He just said lightly, in the future, the path to enlightenment will be opened, and I will come again to ask you for advice on today's cause and effect. Ha 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 ha, get out of here if you want, there's so much nonsense. If you keep shouting, I will give you a road to Zhangyetu. When the ancient dragon saint heard this, he laughed wildly, and the evolution avenue went towards the literary saint again. At their level, there is not much difference in strength, and it is absolutely impossible to decide the winner in an instant. If you can't kill the literary saint, it will be disgusting and disgusting. Literary saint was able to do it. Snort. But I heard Wen Sheng snort coldly, and in the blink of an eye, he evolved into a supreme mystery, and his whole body seemed to be transformed into shadows of various foams, disappearing in place. Coward when the ancient dragon saint saw this scene, he laughed and looked at the fight between Yang Hao and Yuhua saint. In fact, at this moment, except for a few unlucky ghosts like the ancient sword saint who fell, all the people who ambushed Yang Hao, all the saints have gone away. Only the Yuhua saint was bitten by Yang Hao. The little girl riding the fire phoenix was harassing him from time to time. The two sides fought and moved forward, and they have been fighting for thousands of miles. Girl Zhang, why don't you help this little guy like you? The ancient dragon saint appeared next to Zhangwu and asked Zhangwu with a smile. The battle situation changed. Since the arrival of the Eternal Holy Land, a total of 7 saints came to ambush Yang Hao. Among them, 5 were quasi-sages and 2 were killed. Saint Zhangwu personally beheaded a saint and 3 quasi-sages. Her strength can be said to be extremely powerful. Need not. If you interfere, Hao will be angry. He is sharpening himself. Zhangwu heard the words and said lightly. She wanted to help Yang Hao just now, but Yang Hao refused decisively. Not to mention Zhangwu, even the little girl and Phoenix Suqing at the moment were just hovering around Yang Hao. Not so much it is to assist Yang Hao, rather it is the little girl playing. Because of this, other saints who wanted to assist Yang Hao were stopped by Zhangwu. It's rare for a lawless little girl like you to care about what others think. The figure of Qin Sheng also appeared in front of Zhangwu at this moment. She is a goddess who looks like a young woman. Although she doesn't know how old she is, she still looks young and has more flavor than Yuhua saint. He is my sister's son. Zhangwu looked at Yang Hao fighting in blood, with a trace of distress in her eyes, and said casually. If Emperor Qin saw the little guy being so successful, he would be happy and alive. This little guy's time accomplishments completely inherited Emperor Qin's talent. Gu Longsheng also watched the battle and laughed. If you can't speak, speak less. The Qin emperor on the side rolled his eyes at the ancient dragon saint and said lightly. She also looked at Yang Hao. At this moment, the reincarnation method evolved by Yang Hao was bursting out crazily. In conjunction with the prehistoric killing formation and the Yuhua saints fight, the sky was dark and the earth was dark. The moon has no light. However, it is different from the previous fight where Yang Hao was able to suppress the ancient sword saint. The Yuhua saint is extremely powerful, and Yang Hao's realm is far different. The fight between the two can only be said to be evenly matched. This is because it was due to Yang Hao's extremely fierce fighting methods and Yuhua sage's desire to escape. From the perspective of the two ancient sages, the battle between the two was naturally extremely immature. However, these two ancient sages still nodded slightly. We can see Yang Hao's time attainments and the mystery of the ancient killing array. Missing a little experience. The little guy is physically strong, but he also needs to use it in the right place. Just listen. Gu Longsheng had a very bold and unrestrained personality. Seeing that Yang Hao liked him, he actually gave Yang Hao some guidance on the spot. Yang Hao was stunned when he heard this. Every word of advice from an ancient sage is precious, and it takes thousands of years to gain insights. But with his supreme understanding, he naturally understood quickly, and he was able to use it immediately with almost a hint from the ancient dragon saint. Gradually, under the guidance of the ancient dragon saint, Yang Hao gradually began to suppress the Yuhua saint. What an evil little guy, his understanding is a little too strong. Gu Longsheng was shocked. Not only Gu Longsheng was shocked, Qin Sheng also said quietly from the side, if I remember correctly, this little guy is less than 100 years old. Gu Longsheng, what are you doing at your age? Hearing Qin Sheng's words, Gu Longsheng looked helpless. How can it be compared like this? This guy is the main star of the Dao of this era, and he is born to be a person who wants to prove the Dao is also like this. Hearing this, Qin Sheng nodded slightly and looked at Yang Hao and Yuhua Saint fighting again. Damn, damn. He is so evil, no wonder he can kill Lin Feng. No, we are in danger of falling today, and we cannot continue like this. The royal transformation saint was entangled by Yang Hao, with a stern face. The evolution of her small world was actually unable to suppress Yang Hao's weird killing formation. Not only that, without the immortal golden body, the opponent became stronger and stronger as he fought. The scarier it is. If that's all, that's it. The Yuhua sage will kill Yang Hao even if he pays a high price. But now she has seen through it, she has become a turtle in the urn. Even the literary sage gave up on her. A lot of the saints from the eternal Holy Land are watching her. As long as she threatens Yang Hao's life, let alone Zhang Wu, the ancient dragon saint and Qin saint will take action in an instant. Today's revenge will be avenged tomorrow. Yang Hao, wait. The royal transformation saint suddenly roared shrilly. Then, a terrifying aura appeared. That's the breath of the avenue. This imperial saint actually controls the second avenue. Pity. It seems that she is giving up this avenue to survive. Qin Sheng's eyebrows flashed, but he stretched out a jade hand to protect Yang Hao. Boom. A shocking sound came. The heaven and earth seemed to be shattered. The Yuhua saint gushed blood, but instantly broke through all the shackles and disappeared from the void. And Yang Hao was protected by Qin Emperor, and the earth-shattering avenue was not broken. Bring him any harm. Auntie, hunt her down. Yang Hao frowned at this time. Seeing the Yuhua saint disappear, he immediately sent a message to Zhang Wu. This person cannot let her escape. If a saint escapes, there will be endless troubles. I'm afraid not. She blew herself up. At this time, Zhang Wu's somewhat helpless voice came _ please download the novel without underlining. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 178. Self-Destruction Avenue. Can't be chased. Yang Hao frowned and murmured to himself. He naturally knew that Yuhua Sage self-destruct the Dao. Just now he fought against Yuhua Sage, and the biggest obstacle was that the other party evolved the Dao to attack and kill him. The gap between the Dao and the law is it's like a dimensionality reduction strike. Once the Yuhua Saint activates the great Dao, he needs to use the power of the law hundreds or thousands of times to offset it. This is why he can't crush the Yuhua Saint like he crushed the ancient sword master. But now that the Yuhua Saint has self-destruct the avenue, she must be seriously injured. Now is the best time to chase her. But Zhang Wu told Yang Hao that he could not chase her. Yang Hao naturally knew that Zhang Wu would never refuse his request. Since Zhang Wu said she couldn't be chased, so there must be a reason. Little guy, you are still in the realm of giants and know too little about the avenue. The Yuhua sage's self-destruction of the avenue did not explode the space and escape from the space. Instead, through her broken avenue, she instantly penetrated the avenue world and escaped into the avenue world. The Great Dao world is a place that can only be sensed after reaching the ultimate level of understanding the law. Of course, Now that the Great Dao Galaxy is revealed, you can understand the Great Dao world as the depths of the Dao Galaxy. Unless you also blow up an avenue to chase her into the avenue world, it is impossible to follow her into it. At this time, Gu Longshen's voice came with a smile. He had keenly sensed Yang Hao's thoughts and explained to him. That's right, there's no need to rush. The Yuhua saint has murderous intentions towards you. Even if you don't take action, Zhang Yetu will kill her. With the help of the remaining power from her self-destruct Dao, she could only stay in the Dao world for 3 years at most. The figure of Qin Sheng also appeared in front of Yang Hao and said with a smile to Yang Hao. 3 years is too long. Apart from self-destructing the avenue, is there no way to enter the avenue world now? When Yang Hao heard this, he didn't want to wait for 3 years. When the Yuhua saint comes out, he will definitely be huddled somewhere. It's too easy for a saint to hide himself. Because the saint can already do it without any help. Step out of the ancient road in the starry sky and travel across the universe. If the Yuhua saint is willing, once he walks into the starry sky, the world is so big that it is impossible to find him. Let such a saint with unstable factors and deep hatred for himself live. Yang Hao doesn't want to. There is a way. But let alone the high price to pay. The world of Dao is vast and boundless, like the universe, too grand. Qin Sheng heard Yang Hao's words and explained to him again. If you really want to kill her, unless there is a door on the avenue where she blew herself up, you can enter through the door, and you may be able to catch up. However, the avenue she self-destructed was the Five Elements Avenue, a special avenue. Although it was not particularly strong, it was not easy to find the Five Elements Gate, Gu Longsheng said quietly. In addition, the holy level is too powerful and can be entered through the Taoist Gate, but it can only stay in it for a month at most. In a month, even if you enter through the Five Elements Dao Gate, you may not be able to find the other party. Therefore, it is better to wait until the Yuhua saint comes out on his own, Qin Sheng also added again. Daemon. Yang Hao understood in an instant. It turns out that what the Dao sect connects to is the Dao world. He has 2 Dao sects in his hand, one is the Dao sect of destruction, and the other is the Dao sect of destiny. They are all extremely precious divine objects obtained from one Dao pavilion. Destruction Gate. Dear seniors, I have the Destruction Dao sect and I will change it to the Five Elements Dao section. Anyone willing to swap? Yang Hao almost didn't hesitate and made a decisive decision. Destroy the Taoist Gate. After hearing Yang Hao's words, many holy places present opened their eyes with disbelief. Even Zhang Wu frowned slightly and said to Yang Hao, you got the Dao sect of destruction from one Dao pavilion. This is a divine object that has the opportunity to control the avenue of destruction. Although the law of destruction and the law of 5 elements are both special laws, the law of destruction is much more precious than the law of 5 elements. It's not worth it for a royal saint. Zhang Wu said seriously to Yang Hao directly. For me, it's worthwhile if it's valuable. Yang Hao chuckled when he heard this. This is his character. Revenge will never take place overnight, so what if it's a saint? He blew up a road, he must have been seriously injured, right? It wouldn't be too bad if he entered the world of Dao and transformed her. Of course, Yang Hao is not without calculations. It is indeed not cost-effective to destroy the Dao Gate in exchange for the 5 Elements Dao Gate. However, no one knows that he has more than one Dao Gate. Similarly, once he enters the Dao world, he can use the Wei Tower unscrupulously. Yuya Tower. The transformation sage is much stronger than the Onling sage in terms of strength and luck. Transforming her into a transformation and interrogating her secrets will not necessarily lead to any loss. Since you insist, I will support you. Zhang Wu saw Yang Hao persisting and stopped trying to persuade her. She looked at the other saints and said, if you have the 5 elements Taoism, you can exchange it. It's a rare opportunity. After hearing Zhongwu's words, all the saints' eyes lit up. Even the powerful ancient dragon saint and Qin saint were also a little moved. This is undoubtedly an extremely cost-effective exchange. However, Taoism is extremely rare. Obviously none of the Jidao strongmen present were there. Otherwise, they would have exchanged it with Yang Hao as soon as possible. But this did not hinder their desire. One by one, the Jidao strongmen began to shoot out divine light, and the world was filled with asked. The Ziwei star is so vast, these extreme Taoists want to find the five elements Taoist gate, but they can't find it. They only need to exchange more expensive divine objects for the five elements Taoist gate, and then exchange the five elements Taoist gate with Yang Hao for the destruction Taoist gate. Yes, it's a business that won't lose money no matter what. Sure enough, these extremely powerful people are extremely efficient. Yes. Suddenly, the ancient dragon Saint Tiger's eyes widened, showing a look of surprise. He shot out a series of divine lights one after another, and then took out a talisman and disappeared. Not long after, the ancient dragon saint appeared again. He actually spent a lot of money to travel back and forth in an instant. How much distance is there in exchange for the return of the five elements Dao sect? Here you go, little one. The ancient dragon sage was very generous. He didn't even ask Yang Hao whether he really destroyed the Taoist sect, and just threw the five elements Taoist sect to Yang Hao. Thank you, senior. Yang Hao's eyes lit up when he saw the familiar mini appearance of the five elements Taoist section with a flash of inspiration in his hand. The destruction Taoist sect was taken out of the sea of spiritual energy. This ancient dragon saint seemed to have a very good relationship with Zhongwu. He heard what he said before. Seemed to have an old relationship with his mother, and the ancient dragon sage had just spoken out to point him out. Yang Hao had always had a clear grudge, and when he exchanged the destruction Dao sect for the ancient dragon sage, there was no estrangement. Pity. Gu Longshen's friends are too broad, and he actually got the five elements sect in exchange for it so quickly. Alas, the opportunity was missed like this. Seeing that Yang Hao had traded the destruction sect to the ancient dragon saint, many of the powerful Ji-Dao men shook their heads with regret. But there is nothing that can be done about it. Gu Longshen was so efficient that he got the five elements Dao sect in just half an hour. Without further ado, I will go to hunt down the Yahua saint. Yang Hao got the five elements Dao sect and immediately said to Zhongwu. Well, be more careful. Although your understanding of the five elements law is not high, you should be able to gain something after entering the world of Dao. Zhongwu nodded. If it weren't for the short time that the saint could stay in the Dao world, she would have wanted to join the hunt instead of Yang Hao. Yang Hao responded with a smile, don't worry. The next moment, he immediately poured a large amount of spiritual power into the five elements Dao gate in his hand. In an instant, under the gaze of all the powerful Ji-Dao masters, the five elements Dao gate in Yang Hao's hand expanded instantly and was suspended directly in front of Yang Hao. If possible, don't kill him, but transform the saint into a saint. She was extremely talented when she was young and may have a big secret. Just when Yang Hao was about to be led in by the five elements Taoist sect, Zhongwu's reminder came. Yang Hao nodded, and Zhongwu thought of going together with him. The next moment, Yang Hao's figure was seen following the five elements Taoist section completely disappeared into the sky. This little guy really has flaws that must be repaid. Qin Emperor sighed with emotion. Haha, if his mother had such a character back then, why did she fall? Gu Longsheng on the side said with a smile, showing his appreciation. Indeed so. The Yahua saint was really unlucky to have provoked this little devil. Zhongwu, where are you going? While Emperor Qin was sighing, he suddenly saw Zhongwu's figure disappearing at the end of the world. I have some insights and find a place to retreat. After I get out of seclusion, come with me to the holy places of creation and yin and yang to collect some interest. Zhongwu's cold voice came, and she warned Emperor Qin and ancient dragon saint. This girl. Qin Emperor was speechless, but he smiled and shook his head and said, it seems that Zhongwu trained the little devil's temper. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 179. A heavy and sticky feeling invaded his whole body, as if he was sinking into a quagmire, which made Yang Hao particularly unaccustomed to it. Is this the Dao world? He looked in all directions, and it was like a silent universe. The sky and the earth were heavy, and the darkness was endless. But as long as you pay a little attention, you can find that the sticky feeling weighing down your body at this moment is clearly the rich and endless law of the five elements. Master, the biggest difference between the Great Dao world and Wan Dao Pavilion is that the Great Dao world is like a pool of water. Each pool of water contains the corresponding laws, which are countless times richer than Wan Dao Pavilion. This should be the world belonging to the Five Elements Avenue. Of course, naturally there won't be as many rules as Wan Dao Pavilion. For example, if you enter the world of Dao through the Five Elements Dao Gate, then your current location can only be limited to the Tanshui that contains the laws of the five elements. But the good news is that if you enter through the Dao Gate, you are not too strong and will not be severely rejected by the Dao. I should be able to stay in this world of Five Elements Avenue for a long time. It can last up to 8 or even 10 years for a saint. At this time, Yunyan immediately explained to Yang Hao. Yang Hao nodded slightly when he heard the words. At this moment, he could indeed sense the laws of the five elements easily, even easier than in Wan Dao Pavilion. You know, he had no experience at all before. He has understood the law of the five elements. However, he can easily sense that what Yunyan said is actually somewhat wrong. This place is not as narrow as a pool of water. As far as the eye can see, there is an endlessly deep world with no edge. Vast. The world of Five Elements Avenue seems to be really like a world with no boundaries. It is impossible to get out of the world of Five Elements Avenue and enter the world that contains other avenues. Can we only stay for 10 years at most? Some trouble. The world of the Five Elements Avenue is much wider than he imagined. If he enters it to practice, it doesn't matter. But his goal of entering the world of the Five Elements Avenue is to hunt down the Yahua Saint. Yang Hao now understands why Zhongwu said that he could not chase kill. The Yahua Saint can only stay in this world of the Great Dao for 3 years. In 3 years, trying to find a saint from this world of the Five Elements Dao is indeed a bit like looking for a needle in a haystack. He can stay for 8 or 10 years. It seems to be no different from the entry of a saint. In fact, it is not the case. The time he can stay in the world of the Great Dao is limited to his own time. In 8 or 10 years, he can control his own time to make the Yahua Saint stay in the world of the Five Elements Great Dao. When he lasted 3 years, he had already spent 10 years. Naturally, he could search for 10 years in the world of Five Elements Avenue within 3 years. Although the probability is still not too high, even if it comes, Yang Hao will not to think too much. He began to fly in this world of the five elements. While getting familiar with the world, he tried to sense the breath of the saint. In such a world full of rich laws, the breath of a saint was like a big sundae so dazzling. As long as the Yahua Saint is within 1,000,000 miles, Yang Hao will definitely be able to sense the other person's aura. Because of this, Yang Hao feels that it is not without hope to find the Yahua Saint in this world of Five Elements Avenue. Earned 100 million points for automatically comprehending the Five Elements Law. Obtained 100 million points for understanding the Five Elements Law. Earned 80 million points for understanding the Five Elements Law. Yang Hao glanced at his system income record panel. When he was searching for the Royal Transformation Saint, in addition to himself comprehending the law of the five elements, the system also began to crazily comprehend the law of the five elements. If I stay here for 8 or 10 years, maybe I can come into contact with the ultimate law of the five elements. Yang Hao has sensed that his control over the five elements law has improved by leaps and bounds. According to his estimation, it may not take too long to condense the 5 elements crystals in his body and break through to the third level of the giant realm. He was originally hesitant. It is also a special law, the 5 elements. Compared with special laws such as underworld, death, and destruction, the law is not powerful. However, when he realized that with the help of the system, there was a possibility in this world of the 5 elements avenue to break through the 5 elements law to the ultimate level, I'm interested. Breaking through the laws to the ultimate level and forming a great avenue is something that only an emperor can do. Once I turn the law into the avenue, will I become a saint? Yang Hao's eyes flickered, with some movement. There was a saying in this world that was passed down orally and was recognized by almost all practitioners. Under the saints, all are ants. The reason is that the saints control the avenue, and the practice under the saints, the two worlds are like two worlds. In fact, this is also the case. Yang Hao has already had the experience of fighting with the saint head-on. The saint can not only evolve into a great way, follow his words, but the powerful evil saint has even turned the killing array into a small world. Whether it is the great Dao or the small world, it can be called a dimensionality reduction strike against a saint. His background is extremely powerful and he can easily suppress the emperor, but it is too difficult to kill a saint. Don't say that. A saint, even a quasi-sage, killed the ancient sword saint after he had exhausted all his knowledge, which is enough to explain the problem. If he can use the 5 elements Dao world to break through and reach the ultimate, then he will no longer be able to face the saint. It takes too much effort. With the master's astonishing understanding, even if he didn't understand the 5 elements law deeply before, it is impossible to say that he can really gain a lot here and condense the 5 elements crystals. Yunyin's voice also reminded her that she did not expect that Yang Hao had greater ambitions and was already thinking about reaching the ultimate level of the 5 elements law and evolving into a great avenue. But this is also normal. Yunyin did not know that Yang Hao had a system and that with the blessing of the system next, Yang Hao came to this world of 5 elements avenue and felt like a fish in water. First hunt down the Yuhua saint. This is the main purpose of coming here, Yang Hao said to himself with a smile. He stepped on it. Even if the 5 elements law here was thick and sticky and made him bear a heavy load, he could still fly thousands of miles easily. Is that, Dao Zeng? Flying in the dark and silent universe, Yang Hao was able to see a faraway place like the horizon that could never be reached. There were various twinkling stars that sometimes flickered, sometimes illuminating the entire silent world. He saw it keenly. The big star at the end was clearly familiar. As Yang Hao looked at it attentively, light and shadow flickered in an instant, and he could see it more clearly. The entire avenue of stars in the Zaiwei star would only appear unless someone triggered it. He looked at each other across the bank in the world of 5 elements avenue and could see clearly. Lin Feng, indeed, did not die. Yang Hao narrowed his eyes. The Dao galaxy is as usual, and there are no more changes in either the Dao main star or the Dao Tiangang star. The moment his eyes passed over the 3 slightly lonely Dao main stars in the Dao galaxy, Yang Hao then he discovered that the Dao Tiangang star, which represented Lin Feng in the Dao Tiangang star, still existed. Although it was much dimmer than what he had seen before, as if it was about to go out at any time, it still existed. Existence means alive. Yang Hao's the guess came true, Lin Feng did not die. Xiao Qing'er's aura is getting stronger and stronger. It seems that I got a lot of opportunities again. After confirming that Lin Feng had not died, it did not shake Yang Hao's mood. He looked at another Dao Tiangang star not far away from Lin Feng. The Dao Tiangang star belonging to Xiao Qing'er was extremely bright at the moment, and was even brighter than the Dao Tiangang star. It was much brighter last time. Especially against the background of Lin Feng's obscure Dao Tiangang star, it was even brighter. Yang Hao withdrew his gaze and did not continue to pay attention. It was enough to know the general situation of his enemies. Yes, there is no need to take them too seriously. Huh. Just when Yang Hao was about to continue searching, he suddenly paused, as if he had discovered something. He suddenly looked at his own main star in the distant Dao galaxy. Sure enough, Yang Hao's eyes lit up. He felt that it seemed to be close in front of him, but in fact it was as far away as a world away from the avenue of stars. A breath was connected to him. This breath was naturally his main star of the avenue. Of course, it was impossible for him to gain anything with this aura. But with Yang Hao's wisdom, he instantly drew inferences and discovered the blind spot. He instantly looked at the evil star of the avenue in the avenue galaxy that he had not deliberately checked just now. Many avenues there are also bright and shining stars, but there are also a few dark and dim stars. Yang Hao's eyes keep wandering, scanning the evil stars one after another, and he has a panoramic view of the information about each evil star. Found it? Finally, Yang Hao's eyes paused, and he locked his eyes on an equally bleak road dot above the evil star. This great evil star is the evil star of the great saint. At this moment, he could easily sense that this great evil star was like his main star, emitting a breath of nothingness and reflecting it into the world of the five elements. This aura is extremely weak. If he were not the main star of the avenue, he would most likely not be able to sense it. I think you want to escape there. A smile appeared at the corner of Yang Hao's mouth. He exploded with speed, locked onto the void breath falling from the avenue galaxy, and left with murderous intent. He found the location where the Yahua Saint was hiding in this world of five elements avenue. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 180. The loss is too great this time. Yang Hao, this damn little beast. The Yahua Saint is hiding behind a star in the world of five elements avenue. Every time she thinks of her own five elements avenue self-destructing, she feels so heartbroken that she can't breathe. In her heart, she has cursed Yang Hao countless times. It seems that only in this way can she be relieved a little. The pain in her heart. The loss of self-destruction of the avenue is too great. Although she is now in the five elements avenue world full of five elements laws, the five elements laws that she was once extremely good at should have been as huge as stars in her perception, easily she was connected and enlightened by her Taoist heart. However, in the perception of the Yahua Saint, the five elements law, which was originally as huge as stars, was incomparably small. She had comprehended the five elements law for countless years, all in one night. Destroyed in one moment. If you want to recultivate the law of five elements, it is not as simple as starting over from scratch. She blew herself up, which is self-sacrifice. If she wants to practice the law of five elements again, she will be rejected by the law of five elements. Because of this, Yuhua Sage's heart, it is self-evident how painful it is. She also understands that no matter how hard she refuses to give up the road of self-destruction, she must give up in the crisis situation at that time. When Sheng has given up on her. Saints such as Gu Longsheng, Qin Sheng, and other saints are also watching. If it weren't for the self-explosion of the avenue, she would never have survived. But the Yahua Saint blamed all of this on Yang Hao. If this little beast hadn't stopped me, I would have been able to leave safely. This boy has become a serious problem and must be eliminated completely. The face of the royal transformation saint is sometimes ferocious, sometimes livid. She still can't understand why the seamless ambush was plotted by the Holy Land of Eternal Life. Now she is like a bereaved dog, and can only rely on cursing Yang Hao to calm down while constantly licking her wounds. Anger in heart. Got you. But at this moment, Yahua Saint suddenly felt a chill. A sneer came into her ears. What happened? Why does this voice sound so much like the voice of that little beast? No, this is the world of five elements avenue. It seems that I was too seriously injured and had hallucinations. Maintain your state of mind and don't let this little beast disturb your Taoist mind again. Yahua Sage subconsciously thought that he was hallucinating. This is the Five Elements Avenue world, an absolutely safe place in the world. It is impossible for anyone to come here. Boom. However, the next moment, the whole world shook, making a muffled sound. Countless laws of the five elements were stirred up, like a tsunami, attacking towards the Yahweh saint. Not good. At this time, no matter how slow the Yahweh saint reacted, he realized that he was not hallucinating just now. Someone disturbed the five elements law and took action against her. Yang Hao. The Yahweh saint subconsciously began to sense it, and his expression instantly became incredible. She couldn't understand why she really saw Yang Hao in the world of Five Elements Avenue. He. When Yang Hao saw the frightened face of Yahweh saint, he seemed to be expecting it and didn't care. He burst out with a shocking aura, and his momentum was rising steadily. Yunyan and him merged again. At the same time, Huanquan Road surged out, stirring the five elements. The law formed the terrifying Yellow Spring and Five Elements Galaxy, surging and overturning towards the Yahweh saint. How could he possibly pursue him here? Impossible. At this time, the Royal Transformation Saint was still in danger. But his rich combat experience made the saint immediately stir up several divine weapons and attack Yang Hao with flames. When Yang Hao saw this scene, he had already, as expected, the great desolate killing formation came out again. Beheading towards the Yahweh saint. It's this weird killing formation again. When the Yahweh saint saw this scene, his expression changed drastically. Her small world was also revealed and collided with the prehistoric killing array. However, compared with the radiant and endless power when she fought with Yang Hao before, the small world of the Yahweh saint has become bleak at this moment, and its previous momentum is very different. This is not surprising. Even if the killing array transforms into a small world, the practitioner will still continue to cultivate. To Yahweh, the power of the Hua sage naturally injects the five elements law into her little world. In fact, the five elements law is very likely to be an extremely important part of her little world. Now the five elements avenue of the Yahweh sage has been exploded, and her naturally, the small world suffered heavy losses and its power was greatly reduced. How can you run this time? Yang Hao sneered. He naturally felt that the Yahweh saint was completely different from his previous state. The first time he fought against the Yahweh saint, the two could only fight evenly. Including the Yahweh saint's self-destruction. She escaped not because he forced her into a desperate situation, but because other powerful men from the Holy Land of Eternal Life were watching eagerly. But it was different now. The great desolate killing formation used the power of the killing formation to overwhelm the small world of Yahweh saint, almost the Yahweh saint is fighting. It is not just the Yahweh saint's small world. At this moment, Yang Hao, holding the Tian he transformed from Huanquan Road, has appeared in front of the Yahweh saint and started a crazy close quarters fight with him. Wave after wave of fighting against Yang Hao was like a tsunami, and even the imperial saint with an immortal golden body was beaten to the point where his golden body collapsed. Useless. The fact that you, a little evil beast, can break into this world of five elements Deo has already surprised me. It's a pity that your strength is not enough. I created an immortal golden body, but you don't have the power to condense it? It's just wishful thinking to kill the saint like you killed the ancient sword master. In 3 years, if you can't kill me, I will be teleported away. And you, just feel the opportunity in this world of Five Elements Avenue. However, I hope you will not regret it in the future. I will fight with you until death. Although Yahweh Sage is at a disadvantage, words are coming out of his mouth as he vomits blood. Yes. Yahweh Sage is sure that Yang Hao does not have the strength to kill her. So what if she is seriously injured? As long as she does not die, she will be teleported away. The moment she enters the world of Five Elements Avenue, she will choose to enter the ancient road of the starry sky. If she does not become a sage, she will not return to the Zyway star. but once she returns as a sage, it will be Yang Hao's death. The eyes of Yuhua sage looking at Yang Hao viciously, his eyes were extremely fierce. Oh! But when Yang Hao heard this, he didn't even feel the slightest emotion in his heart. I didn't intend to kill you. That's almost it? Yang Hao killed the Yuhua saint until he was bleeding, and the small world continued to collapse, but he suddenly stopped. What do you mean? Yuhua sage was stunned. He didn't intend to kill her? Then why did you chase me to the Five Elements Avenue world? Just to seriously injure me? Yuhua sage knew very well that Yang Hao wanted to enter the Five Elements Avenue world, and it was very possible. It consumed a Five Elements Dao sect. If it was just to vent her anger, then she could only say that Yang Hao was extremely stupid. Unfortunately, Yang Hao didn't like to talk much when fighting, and he didn't intend to explain too much to the Yuhua sage. Suddenly a small tower appeared above his head. This small tower released a stream of divine light almost instantly, covering the Yuhua saint. Want to suppress me? I see. Unfortunately, I thought too much. The royal transformation saint couldn't help but sneer when he saw Yang Hao sacrificing a magic weapon and wanted to suppress her. She was laughing at Yang Hao for being so naive. The gap between the realms of the two was so big that they couldn't even kill her. Want to suppress her? Anyone with combat experience knows that suppressing an enemy is much more troublesome than killing an enemy. However, the next moment the divine light fell. The Yuhua saint originally wanted to dodge the cleansing power, but her face gradually solidified. She found that she couldn't avoid this divine light at all. How could it be possible? This is the aura of the imperial weapon. The moment Yuhua saint was absorbed into Wei Tower, her eyes widened even more. She was much more powerful than Onling saint, and she could feel the imperial power released by Wei Tower almost the moment she was suppressed into Wei Tower. The breath of soldiers. In an instant, my heart became extremely cold. It turns out, he really has the ultimate imperial weapon. My guess was not wrong. However, whether Yuhua sage's guess is correct or wrong will not affect her fate. As she was seriously injured and was discovered by Yang Hao, the outcome was already doomed. Rays of divine light were shining crazily on Yuhua sage's body wash up. Ridiculous people. Yang Hao looked at the royal transformation sage roaring crazily under the divine light of the Wei Tower, but he smiled coldly. This time, the goal of entering the world of the Five Elements Avenue was successfully completed with the help of the Avenue Galaxy. Yang Hao is also in a good mood. Next, while comprehending the Five Elements law, wait for the transformation saint to be transformed. Hope she can bring me some surprises. Yang Hao headed towards the place where the Five Elements law gathers the most intensely. He began to practice while waiting for the royal transformation saint to be transformed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 181. Earned 110 million points for automatically comprehending the Five Elements law. Earned 110 million points for understanding the Five Elements law. Earned 200 million points due to breaking realm. The time for practice always passes extremely quickly. Time passed in a blink of an eye. Within this year, with Yang Hao's terrifying understanding, he could easily comprehend the laws of the Five Elements deeply in the world of the Five Elements Avenue, and condense the Five Elements crystals in his body. Naturally, he also broke through the realm and reached the third level of the giant realm. Not only that, Yang Hao also used the system to understand the laws of the Five Elements during this year, and at the same time, he took out a large number of divine crystals containing special laws that he had previously obtained from Wandeo Pavilion to refine and comprehend. 1 year has passed. Not only has the law of the Five Elements advanced rapidly, but with the help of various divine crystals, Yang Hao's understanding of other special laws has also advanced by leaps and bounds, approaching the edge of breakthrough. Master, the transformation saint has succeeded in transforming. On this day, Yang Hao heard Yunyan's voice. He opened his eyes, and the saint's state of mind was extremely tenacious. It actually took him a year to completely transform the saint. Come out. Tell me all your secrets. Yang Hao thought, and Wei Tower released Yahua Saint almost instantly. At this moment, Yahua Saint has become completely docile and lost all the hostility towards Yang Hao. Not only that, her aura is also better than before. He recovered a lot. Obviously, after transforming the Yahua Saint, Yang Hao did not hesitate to use any divine objects and directly used the immortal medicine that was still contained in him to help the Yahua Saint recover. The Yahua Saint who was nourished by the immortal medicine even appeared. The trend of rejuvenation. Originally, she only looked like a middle-aged beautiful woman. After being nourished by the elixir of immortality, the royal saint who appeared in front of Yang Hao at this moment had green silk hanging down and a graceful figure, like a beauty in the world. Yes, master. When the Yahua saint heard this, he was extremely respectful and slowly began to tell Yang Hao all his secrets. She is very old and has lived for almost 100,000 years, but it is considered normal among saints. Her lifespan is close to 100,000 years. Years old, even if I only picked out the important secrets to tell, this lecture lasted 3 days and 3 nights. You've had some adventures. Yang Hao looked at Yahua Sage seriously. Yahua Sage's real name was Wenwan, and his name and image were completely different from what he had seen before in front of Yang Hao. Through Wenwan's narration, Yang Hao understood Wenwan's growth trajectory. This person is also an unparalleled talent in the Holy Land of Creation. Like other monsters, he has risen to prominence, leaving behind countless legends. He has explored numerous places of opportunity and also ventured into extremely dangerous places. Of course, he is inevitably involved in all kinds of fights and nastiness. Let Yang Hao was a little surprised that Wenwan, after becoming a quasi-sage, boldly walked out of the Ziwei star and entered the ancient road in the starry sky. After returning from traveling for thousands of years, he successfully became a saint and controlled 2 avenues. The magical experience of the ancient road also made Hao a little surprised. Yang Hao felt fresh and listened with gusto. Compared to the Onling saint who was also transformed by him and even came from the Holy Land of Creation, Wenwan was undoubtedly more lucky. Even if there were no accidents, Wenwan had achieved something. The potential of sages is nothing more than a matter of time. The master praised it. Looking at the gentle, young, and docile appearance in front of him, it was difficult for Yang Hao to associate her with the previous image of a shrew and a crazy person. You can go back to Wei Tower to recover. Yang Hao is digesting the many secrets Wenwan told him. Most of them are outdated or useless, but there are also secrets of extremely high value. Lin Feng. It's getting more and more interesting. The first thing that bore the brunt was naturally the news about Lin Feng. A sharp light flashed in Yang Hao's eyes. The relationship between Wenwan and Lin Feng was not what he thought before. The 2 of them can be considered to be of the same blood. Lin Feng is Wenwan's disciples naturally attracted Wenwan's attention as Lin emerged. However, Lin Feng did pursue Wenwan and wanted Wenwan to become his Taoist companion. Wenwan originally admired Lin Feng very much, but she was lonely for endless years. I originally had some thoughts about such an outstanding genius like Lin Feng. Unfortunately, Wenwan, who is meticulous and stingy, used the omniscience and omnipotence of a saint to spy on Lin Feng's secrets. Although she still admired and cultivated Lin Feng, she never touched her again. Thoughts? This secret is not a big secret, otherwise it would not be so easy for Wenwan to find out. Lin Feng does not admire Wenwan, but just wants to take advantage of Wenwan. He has someone else he admires. Zhang Wu. Lin Feng, Why do you admire your aunt? Yang Hao's eyes flashed with murderous intent. For some reason, he knew such news from Wenwan, and his heart boiled with murderous intent. He was very sure that Lin Feng and Zhang Wu had no connection at all. But Wenwan would not deceive him. Lin Feng he indeed admires Zhang Wu. Yang Hao doesn't think there is love without reason. This matter is suppressed in his heart. In addition, Wenwan actually knew that there was a place where the law of destiny existed in her life. Yang Hao turned his thinking to another direction. This is also a shocking secret. The secret about the law of destiny. Eternal restricted area. When Wenwan was an emperor, she once broke into the forbidden area among the 10 most dangerous places in Ziwei Star. Compared with some places of opportunity, areas such as the Eternal Forbidden Zone are completely dangerous places. Not to mention the emperor, even if a saint enters it, he may fall easily. Because of this, such dangerous places often contain such amazing opportunities. In history, the top 10 most dangerous places, such as the Eternal Forbidden Zone and the Forbidden Dead Sea, have all seen the birth of Ji-Dao Emperor soldiers. Not only the Ji-Dao Emperor's soldiers, but also the inheritance from ancient times and even the ancient times. Some of the information he knew about the Eternal Forbidden Zone flashed in Yang Hao's mind, but the words Wenwan just said surged up in his mind. Wenwan traveled through the Eternal Forbidden Zone and narrowly escaped death. Among them, she once sensed the aura of the law of destiny in the depths of the sea of blood in the Eternal Forbidden Zone. However, it was too dangerous there, so Wenwan did not dare to explore it. Instead, she secretly made a note of it and prepared to go explore it herself in the future. Except for sacred places like Wandao Pavilion that originally contain endless laws, generally speaking, places where the laws of destiny exist, in addition to the laws of destiny, are usually accompanied by the existence of rare treasures. The law of fate. For him, it is very important. Wenwan told him many secrets, but from his perspective, there is only one secret that he can really appreciate. In the future, if I have the chance, I will go explore it, Yang Hao thought. After sorting out all these secrets, Yang Hao once again began to seize the time to practice. Earn 230 million points due to breaking through realm. Earn 250 million points due to breaking through realm. Earn 280 million points due to breaking through realm. Time passed, and another 8 years passed in the blink of an eye. As expected, Yang Hao has been in the world of 5 Elements Avenue for more than 8 years, reaching his 9th year. According to Yunyin's estimation, Yang Hao will be ostracized from the 5 Elements Avenue world in at most 1 year. In the past 8 years, his cultivation has also improved by leaps and bounds in such a treasured place as the 5 Elements Avenue world. He is in the 7th level of Giant Realm. At this moment, 7 special crystals condensed in his body. They are the 7 special laws of time, 5 elements, underworld, stars, reincarnation, death, and curse. The divine crystals obtained in Wandao Pavilion are almost exhausted. There are still 2 laws in the Giant Realm, which are the foundation for controlling the avenue in the future, leaving them to the laws of space and destiny. Yang Hao sensed the changes in his body and his eyes flickered. The law of space is the supreme law. Even if he consumes a large amount of space divine crystals, he is still one step away from the final crystallization. As for the law of destiny, although there is almost no progress, he has the destiny sect will naturally not give up on this most mysterious supreme law. In the past few years, not only has he realized the law, but his strength has also risen again. A total of 7 special laws have been injected into the prehistoric killing array, allowing the prehistoric killing. The array has once again undergone a qualitative change, and its power has increased more than 10 times than before. According to Yang Hao's estimation, the current prehistoric killing array can even overtake Wenwan at the peak of her strength and completely suppress her small world. In addition, because of the skyrocketing points brought about by the realm breakthrough, Yang Hao had the opportunity to completely top up almost all the techniques he had practiced, and achieve complete success. It goes without saying that his combat power skyrocketed wildly. The five elements law in the body has also gained a lot in recent years and turned into a divine gate. According to Yunyan, the ultimate conclusion of the five elements law is not far away. Unfortunately, unless I can stay in this five elements avenue world for more than 5 years, I may have the opportunity to turn the law into Tao and control the five elements avenue. What makes Yang Hao a little regretful is the law of the five elements. There is no such thing as smooth sailing in the world. Even if his talent is terrifying enough, his attainment of the law of the five elements has advanced by leaps and bounds in the past 9 years. The crystallization of the five elements in his body has transformed into a divine will, and then it has transformed into a divine gate now, but it is still far away from the ultimate law. Before Wenwan was teleported away, she also told me that the five elements law is very difficult to achieve and it is extremely scary to be able to achieve such a state. Yang Hao thought of Wenwan. Even though the saint he transformed was still in the Wei Tower, he was still excluded from the Dao world 6 years ago. But before, Wenwan, as a saint who once controlled the five elements law Dao, after all, he was extremely familiar with the five elements avenue and gave Yang Hao a lot of advice. At that time, Wenwan concluded that it was impossible for Yang Hao to control the five elements avenue in 10 years. Is there no other way? Yang Hao frowned, a little unwilling. He began to turn over his sea of spiritual energy, where he had accumulated endless spiritual treasures that he had cultivated for many years. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 182. Rays of precious light overflowed. Since his practice, Yang Hao has obtained too many treasures. Every piece taken out, even if it is a holy land, will be collected as a treasure. But the more things turned upside down, the more disappointed Yang Hao became. Master, this is normal. Enlightenment is too difficult. For ordinary emperors, it is extremely difficult to reach the ultimate level of their own laws, and they don't know how much time it will take. As for turning the ultimate into a great road, that is even more difficult. The law is ultimate. With your understanding and talent, Master, it is only a matter of time. You may even be able to reach it before leaving the five elements avenue, but it is almost impossible to turn the law into the avenue. Being able to transform into a royal saint this time is already a very good harvest. Yunyan comforted Yang Hao. Yang Hao was not satisfied with the results of this trip, but Yunyan was already extremely shocked. How can years be counted in the realization of the law? Even if Tianjiao wants to realize a law from realization to from the crystallization to the divine will, then to the divine gate, to the ultimate, which process does not need to take hundreds or thousands of years. When it comes to its master, it is still not satisfied. In just 9 years, 5 special law crystals have been transformed. Understanding the five elements law to the level of the divine gate is so terrifying. Yunyan no longer knows how to persuade Yang Hao. Indeed so. But Yunyan, the most important thing is to give up. If there is a glimmer of hope, you need to grab it. Yang Hao didn't even raise his head, and continued to rummage through his sea of spiritual energy, randomly digging open the sacred objects one by one. This is. Suddenly, Yang Hao pointed his finger. The next moment, a black umbrella appeared in Yang Hao's hand. This thing was obtained by Yang Hao when he blew himself up behind Lin Feng in Wandao Pavilion. I actually forgot about this. Yang Hao rubbed his eyebrows. Until now, when he walked out of Wandao Pavilion, apart from fighting with others, he was also addicted to practice. At that time, he clearly wanted to study Lin Feng's black umbrella, but he forgot about it. Earned 100 million points for rubbing eyebrows. Earned 100 million points for taking out the Evernight umbrella. Earned 100 million points for mumbling. Everlasting night umbrella. I don't know what the use is. Yang Hao murmured to himself. Although he didn't know the magical effect of this black umbrella, according to the system income record, he knew the name of the umbrella the moment he took out the Yanjai umbrella. There is no way to do it in a short time. There was progress in the law of the 5 elements, so he simply took a clue and studied the eternal night umbrella. This thing was not an extraordinary thing. Yang Hao knew very well. In the past, Lin Feng escaped from the Wandao pavilion with the eternal night umbrella. The killing calamity he created on the 2nd floor. On the 3rd floor of Wandao pavilion, Lin Feng also used the Yanjai umbrella to resist the heaven and earth phenomenon of the 9 dragons pulling the coffin. At least, this Yanjai umbrella is extremely amazing in terms of defense. Yang Hazeng, I once suspected that this object was the Jida imperial weapon. However, although I sensed the imperial qi at the beginning, I did not sense the power of the Jida imperial weapon from the Yanjai umbrella after I acquired it. I have been in contact with and even used several of them. Yang Hao from Jidao Emperor weapon is very familiar with the feeling of Jidao Emperor weapon. Is it a supreme Emperor weapon? Emperor of Eternal Night. Historically, it seems that only Emperor Yanjai was named after Yanjai. Yang Hao murmured to himself. He went through his memory and saw the great emperors who appeared in the history of Ziwei Star. There was only one Emperor Yanjai, named after Yanjai. But in his impression, there was no such thing as Emperor Yanjai. The ultimate emperor soldier called Yanjai umbrella. In fact, Emperor Yanjai doesn't even need an umbrella. Master, Emperor Yanjai is one of the earliest ancient emperors born in Ziwei Star. His combat power is very terrifying. Like Emperor Changjiao, he is ranked among the top 3 in history. Legend has it that only one Jidao imperial weapon named Zhetian existed in his life. This Jidao imperial weapon called Zhetian is said to be among the top 3 Jidao imperial weapons in the history of Ziwei Star. Since the Yanjai umbrella is named after Yanjai, will it be the component that covers the sky? According to historical records, Emperor Yanjai was invincible in the ancient times. He once entered the starry sky and had a shocking battle. In that battle, he died together with another powerful being from another star. Based on the terrifying battle that broke out between the two, it would be possible to smash the Emperor's armament of shrouding heaven into pieces. Yunyan helped Yang Hao analyze. She was absolutely loyal to Yang Hao. Although she didn't know the existence of the system, she followed Yang Hao all the time. Naturally, she was very aware of Yang Hao's sometimes magical talents. After hearing Yunyan's analysis, Yang Hao's eyes moved, and he said slowly the broken parts of the Jidao imperial weapon. Yunyan's guess is very possible. But he said, no matter what the origin of the Yanjai umbrella is, let me test its power. Yang Hao began to inject spiritual power into the Yanjai umbrella. Lin Feng had fallen, and the mark he left on it naturally dissipated. Yang Hao's spiritual power surged into the Yanjai umbrella without any hindrance. What a terrible waste! As soon as the spiritual power surged in, Yang Hao's expression changed drastically. The vast ocean of spiritual power in his body was drained of more than half in almost an instant. Not only his spiritual power, even the law crystals in his body were trembling. A large amount of law power was almost drained by Yanjai umbrella at the same time. It was so magical, like a magic weapon, no wonder Lin Feng didn't dare to use it casually. Yang Hao felt the terrifying consumption caused by just injecting it casually, and he took a breath of cold air. It is self-evident how basic he is. If it were any giant who casually poured spiritual power into the Yanjai umbrella, he will be hummed instantly, and he will not even know how he will die. There is no time to sigh about the magic of Yanjai umbrella. Yang Hao has already focused on Yanjai umbrella. I see. Very strong defense. The Yanjai umbrella that Yang Hao was watching at this moment, after frantically extracting a large amount of his consumption, began to spin in front of him, like a dark sky. Yang Hao sensed the mystery of this dark sky with just a slight perception. In addition to the powerful defense, the dark sky curtain also contains the power of 7 special laws, which is the power of the laws he injected. But in comparison, the power in the dark sky curtain has expanded dozens of times. This Yang Hao's eyes flickered, and he subconsciously launched the great desolate killing formation, facing the dark sky formed by the Yanjai umbrella and killing him. Boom! The thick 5 elements laws in all directions were completely shaken and dispersed by Yang Hao's self-attack. It was as powerful as the prehistoric killing array, and it didn't break the Yanjai umbrella's defense at all in one blow. Wrong. Before, the Yanjai umbrella was controlled by Lin Feng, and Yang Hao did not notice any abnormalities. But now as he used it, he sensed that after the Yanjai umbrella suffered a blow from the great desolate killing formation, not only was it not broken, but it was also inside the black umbrella. It seems that a lot of law power has been transformed. Absorbed the power of the laws of the prehistoric killing array. It is extremely pure, even filtering out all instability, and can be absorbed directly. Yang Hao instantly judged the power of law born in the Yanjai umbrella. Not only can it amplify its own strength dozens of times for defense, but it can also absorb the opponent's killing blows for its own absorption and cultivation. After becoming familiar with the control, although the spiritual power in the body can still be extracted, as long as the hidden law is crystallized, the Evernight umbrella will not be able to extract the power of the law. Treasure. If it weren't for the fact that its power was too simple and overbearing, it would definitely be worthy of the power of the Supreme Emperor's weapon. Yang Hao came to the conclusion after testing again and again. He couldn't put it down. The defensive power of this thing was stronger than the Immortal King's creation map, and the special rules contained filtering power, which made him feel very useful. Owner. You can try to see if you can use the Yanjai umbrella to collect these 5 elements laws. At this moment, Yunyan suddenly said. Makes sense. Yang Hao's eyes immediately brightened and he took out the Eternal Night umbrella. You must know that the power of law cannot be collected. Otherwise, how could the divine crystal be so precious? Even the law crystals in his body need to be continuously absorbed through the system. Yunyan's suggestion is very interesting. Since the Yanjai umbrella can transform the law and store it, wouldn't it be of great use to him if he could directly collect the law? In the sea of spiritual energy, there are elixirs that restore spiritual power. He was convinced. He took out the Yanjai umbrella and tried to activate the Yanjai umbrella to collect the 5 elements law. Sure enough. Although the spiritual power was horribly extracted by the Yanjai umbrella, the 5 elements laws from all directions entered the Yanjai umbrella extremely obediently. A divine crystal. 2 divine crystals. 100 divine crystals. In his ears, Yunyan helped Yang Hao figure out what the Yanjai umbrella could contain. How many laws of power. As she slowly counted, she became more and more shocked. Yang Hao gradually laughed. Look, Yunyan. I have great luck, and as long as I persist, I will definitely gain something. With the Evernight umbrella, can the 5 elements law be transformed into a great way? Hearing Yang Hao's confident words, Yunyan immediately responded, of course there is no problem. This everlasting night umbrella is truly a treasure.